Good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Ananya, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Shreya, good evening. Arvind, good evening. Am I audible to everyone? Please respond. Yes, good evening everybody. What I discussed with you yesterday, am I audible to everyone? What I discussed with you yesterday, please respond. What I discussed with you yesterday, please respond. What I discussed with you yesterday I was discussing with you about arrays, right? So what is the syntax for creating single dimensional? Please respond. Yes, Vaibhav, good evening. Bhaskar, good evening. Pooja, good evening. What is the syntax for creating a single dimensional array? Please respond. So someone asked me, right, yesterday, ternary operators with statement, yes. So what is the use of ternary operators? Please respond. What is the use of ternary operators? What is the use of ternary operators? Please respond. Yes, can you just give me the syntax for ternary operators and what else I discussed with you yesterday? Please respond. Yes, so I was discussing with you about ternary operators. What are the different types of arrays? What are the different types of arrays? Please respond. Yes, so far whatever I discussed yesterday, someone asked me about how to give scanner input like runtime input, right? So I'm going to give you one simple example. So after that I will continue with the remaining concepts. So yesterday someone asked me, right, how to get the user input. I have one that is example here. So this is one simple example. So whenever I want to write any kind of Java coding, so firstly I need to import the corresponding modules and libraries. So what are the different types of modules and libraries? So firstly I am just importing the corresponding libraries. So firstly I am just importing java.io.star. So and then I am importing java.util.scanner. So what are the different types of packages and libraries? So I am just importing the corresponding packages and libraries. And whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I am going to discuss with you about different types of access modifiers. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So whenever I want to create any new class, I need to use the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. And inside this, whenever I want to create any main method, so the JVM comes in, the program execution always starts from the main method. So I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So string of space args. And whenever I want to get the user input, so I'm just using the scanner class. So I'm creating an instance of the class scanner. So new scanner of system.in. So whenever I want to get the user input, so I'm just giving here as system.in. I'm initializing some variables. For example, I'm initializing the name variable, roll number, marks. So it is prepended by different data types, string data types. So integer, floating point number. So firstly, I'm just printing out something. So enter your name, for example, object dot next line. So whenever I want to get the user input, yesterday someone asked me how to get the user input, right? So using the scanner class, I'm trying to create an instance of this scanner class. I'm just giving here as new scanner and system.in. So whenever I want to get the user input, so I'm just giving this message as system.in. So system.out.println, I'm prompting the user to enter the name. So enter your name. And I'm trying to create an object of this scanner class. So object.nextLine. So it goes to next line. So I'm going to get the name. It is stored in the variable called name, and it is stored in the variable called roll number, and then it is stored in the variable called marks. Clear with this? So this is one simple example. So whenever I want to get the user input at the runtime, so I am trying to create an instance of this scanner class. So Java contains some inbuilt packages and libraries for performing different types of operations. So firstly, for performing any type of operations, I need to import the corresponding modules and libraries. So using the scanner, I am trying to create an object of this scanner class. So new scanner of system.in. I am trying to get the user input, and this will be printed at the output. So just right click and there is an option to run the file. For example, I am just giving the name as Ramya. So whatever is the roll number, I am just giving the roll number. Clear with this? So how to get the user input at runtime? For example, I am just giving the name as Ramya. So whatever is the roll number. So I am just entering the marks. You can just see here. So how I am getting the user inputs, and this will be displayed at my output. So clear with this example. So yesterday someone asked me how to use the scanner class, how to get the user input. So using system.in, I can just get the user input. So I am using some prompt messages. So enter your name. So whenever I am giving this prompt message, for example, Ramya, and enter your roll number. So whatever is the roll number, he will enter his roll number, and whatever is the marks. So clear with this? Yesterday someone asked me about getting the user input, right? Clear with this example? So I am going to discuss with you about so I didn't give you some examples for break statement and continue statement. Yesterday I was discussing with you about how to use the break statement and continue statement, right? For example, I am just creating an example. So this is one simple example. Here, whenever I want to create any new class, so I am having this source package. Just right click and there is an option to create a new Java class. So I am just giving here as new Java class. So I am giving here as break example. So under this class name, I need to give the corresponding class name and under which project. For example, web application 2, I need to create a class called break example and under which location. After providing all these details, I am just clicking the finish button. Clear with this? So inside this, I am just coming. So public class break example. So whenever I want to create any new class, so I am just giving here as public class break example. So I'm just coming inside. So I'm just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So inside this I'm just giving here public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. So for int I equal to 0, so I less than or equal to 10. So and then I am giving here as I plus plus. And inside this, whenever I want to print something at the console, so I am just giving here as system.out.println. So I am going to pick each and every I value and this will be displayed at my output. So and then I am coming here, once I reaches the value of 6, so I equal to 6, I am going to execute a break statement. So just save this file. Yesterday I was discussing with you about what is the use of break statement and what is the use of continuous statement. Do you remember yesterday whatever I discussed with you? So this is one simple example. Whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. So I am going to discuss with you about different types of access modifiers here. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. So I can go for public access modifier or I can go for private access, protected. So whenever I want to create any new class, I need to use the class keyword followed by the name of the class. It is prepended by this public access modifier. Inside this, I am just creating a main method. So public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. So always the JVM comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. And inside this, I am just using this for keyword. So first comes the initialization section. So I am just initializing this control variable int I equal to 0. So and then I am giving here I less than or equal to 10. The first one is I am just initializing the control variable. So what do you mean by this control variable? It controls the flow of execution of my program. So that's why this is called as a control variable. So int I equal to 0. Firstly, I am just initializing this control variable. And then I am checking for some condition. So I less than or equal to 10. The first one is the initialization section and then I am checking for some condition. So I is less than or equal to 10 and then comes the incrementation part I plus plus. So I am just coming inside the curly brace. Whenever I want to print something at my output, so I am just giving here as system.out.println. Whatever is the I value, this will be printed at my output. So once I reaches the value of 6, if I equal to 6, it will break. Say for example, I am fetching. So what is the use of all these types of statements? So what makes this programming language so very efficient? So whenever I am fetching some employee records from the database or whenever I am fetching some student from the database. So I want to print the first 6 records. So after 6 records, I want to break this operation. So I am just giving here as break. So just right click, there is an option to run this file. So you are able to see my output. Clear with this? For example, it starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then 6. So once it reaches the value of 6, it just breaks. It just exits from this loop. So this is one simple example of going for this break statement. So the opposite of break statement is the continue statement. So whenever I want to continue the flow of execution of my program, so I can go for this continue statement. Clear with this? So let me just show you one more example. Yesterday I was discussing with you about what is the use of going for break statements, what is the use of going for continue statements. So I am going to give you one more example of continue statement. So I am just giving here as continue example. So I am just under this class name, so I am just giving here as class name. And under which project, for example, under this web application 2, I am just giving the class name and created file. So under this location, I have just created this class and then I am clicking the finish button. So let me just show you a simple example of this continue statement so that you will understand this better. So inside this continue example.java, so I am going to show you a simple example. So just save this file. Whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So I am creating a class called continue example. It is prepended by this public access modifier. And inside this, whenever I want to create any main method, so I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. String of space args. So the JVM comes in, always my program execution starts from the main method. And after this, I am just going for a for loop. So I am using two for loops. The first for loop controls, you can just see here. So for int I equal to 0, I less than or equal to 2. So first one is the initialization section. So I am just initializing the control variable. So next comes the condition checking. So I am checking for some condition. So I is less than or equal to 2 and then I am giving here as I plus plus. So the second one comes the second for loop. So int j equal to I, j less than or equal to 5 and j plus plus. So once j reaches the value of 4, if j equal to 4, I am going to continue. So whenever I want to break some operations or whenever I want to continue some operations, accordingly I have to give the break keyword and continue keyword. Clear with this? So just right click and there is an option to run this file. Clear with this? So once j reaches the value of 4, I am just going to continue this. So I am giving the keyword as continue. So all these are the different ways of controlling the flow of execution of my program. So I can go for a break statement or I can go for a continue statement. Clear with this? So what are the different types? And I am going to show you till this part what I am speaking, everything is clear. So you are clear with this break and continue statements. I am just giving you some practical examples so that you will understand this better. So till this part whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. So next I am going to discuss with you about methods in Java. So what do you mean by a method? So far I was discussing with you about arrays, what is the use of different types of statements. So I was discussing with you about different types of decision making statements, what is the use of looping statements. So next I am going to discuss with you about methods in Java. So what is the use of method? So method is a group of statements that is used to perform some specific task. Clear with this? So it is nothing but a collection of statements. It is nothing but a group of statements which is used to perform some specific task. So for example, public int addition. This is the name of the method. So it is prepended by the return type. Int return type. It is prepended by public access modifier. So whenever I want to define any method, so this is how I have to go for access modifiers and whatever is the return type. So I have to go for integer return type, and method name. So whatever is the name of the method, I need to give the corresponding method name here. And followed by the parameter list. For example, I am giving here as operand 1 and then operand 2. Clear with this? So this is the corresponding syntax. So what is the use of modular programming? So when I was discussing with you about the features of Java, so I was discussing with you about different features of Java. So what is the use of going for this modular programming? So what do you mean by methods? It is nothing but a group of statements, a set of statements or collection of statements. It is used to perform some specific task. Say for example, whenever I am constructing some employee website, so I want to calculate the net pay or the annual pay of an employee. Similarly, in an e-commerce industry, I want to calculate the net purchase made by the customer. So in such cases, I can go for methods. So method, it is going to perform some specific task. Clear with this? So what is the syntax for declaring any method? So it is followed by the return type, followed by the method name. It is prepended by the public access modifier. And followed by the parameter list. There are two different types of methods in Java. So one is called as a predefined function and one more is called as a user defined function. So this is one simple example of going for predefined function. Whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by the public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access. So whenever I want the program to be globally accessed anywhere, so I can go for public access modifier. Or I can go for protected access modifier, private access modifier. So I am just giving here as public class predefined function, and inside this I am just creating a main method. So always the JVM comes in Java virtual machine. So the program execution starts from the main method. So I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So whenever I want to print some square root, so what is the use of the system.out.println? So whenever I want to print something at my console, so I have to use this system.out.print. The square root is, there is a inbuilt module called math module, and sqrt, this is a predefined function. So in order to perform some inbuilt operations, it contains some inbuilt methods. So whenever I want to find the square root of a number, so I am just using this sqrt, square root of 9. And similarly, whenever, for example, maximum, minimum, average, so I have different inbuilt methods present in this math module. So whichever inbuilt methods I want to call, so using this math, using dot operator, I have to call the corresponding inbuilt methods. Clear with this? So what is the use of different? So I have predefined method and I have method. So from the name you can just understand. So what do you mean by this predefined method? And what do you mean by user defined method? Methods which are manually returned by the user, they are called as user defined methods. So code reusability. So mainly why we have to go for this methods concept? Whenever I am developing some bigger applications, web applications. So you can just imagine, for example, in an e-commerce website. So I want to know what are the different list of products available. So accordingly, I can write some different methods. It's going to perform some specific task. So once it is written, it can be reused anywhere in the program. So that is the main use of going for methods or modular programming. Clear with this? So I am just giving you some simple examples. So let me just show you a simple example. So what is the use of predefined method and what is the use of user defined method? So let me just show you a simple example. So whenever I want to define any function, so I need to provide the name of the class. For example, predefined function 1, so this is the class name. So under which project? For example, I need to create this under web application 2. So whenever I am going to create any new class, for example, I have to provide the class name and under which project. For example, under web application 2, and I have to create the file under which location. So after providing all these details, I am just clicking the finish button. So this is one simple example of going for this predefined function. So whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifiers. So I am just using this public access modifier. And inside this, whenever I want to create any method, so I am just giving here as public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. String of space args. So always the JVM comes in, Java Virtual Machine comes in, the program execution starts from the main method. And whenever I want to print something at the output, so I am just giving here as system dot the square root is. So using, there is a inbuilt module called math module using dot operator. So I am calling this inbuilt method called square root, sqrt. So just right click whenever I want to run this file. So there is an option to run this file. So it is going to take some time. So once it is executed, so you will be getting the square root of the argument that is passed inside. Clear with this? So square root of 9 is 3. So this will be displayed at my console. So clear with this example. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any doubts so far? If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program, JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program, JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving an internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. So clear with this? So what is the benefits of joining this internship? So you'll be getting 30 days of live sessions. So 90 days of access to the records. So you can just access the recorded videos. So I'll be explaining some projects. You'll be all the project source codes. And finally you will be getting some internship certification. So clear with this? So this is what you are going to see in this 30 days masterclass. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any queries or any doubts so far? Everything is clear. So I just started with methods. So what is the use of going for a predefined method and user defined method? So I was discussing with you about predefined methods, and then I was discussing with you about user defined methods. So next I'm going to give you some example of user defined method. So let me just show you a simple example. So whenever I want to create any new class, syntax I will just explain. User defined method, I am going to show you one simple example. Methods and functions are same, Venkatesh. So methods, the other name of methods, I am just calling, you can just call them as methods or functions. So whenever I want to create any new class, just right click and there is an option to create a new class. So whenever I want to create any new class, I need to give the class name and under which project. For example, under this web application 2, I am just creating this class and then I am clicking the finish button. So let me just show you a simple example. So whenever, this is one simple example. So I am just going to discuss with you about user defined methods. Whenever I want to create any new class, I am using the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. So I can go for different types of access modifier. So it is prepended by this public access modifier. So I am just coming inside. So the JVM, the program execution, always starts from the main method. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. String of space args. The JVM comes in, the program execution always starts from the main method. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. And inside this, whenever I want to initialize some integers, so I am just giving here. So int num1 equal to 20 and num2 equal to 2. So I am trying to create an instance of this division class. So division 4 space d1 equal to new division 4 of. So using this created object using dot operator, I am calling this inbuilt method called div method. And I am passing these two parameters, num1 and num2, these two are given as inputs to this div method. Clear with this? So public int div. So this is the syntax. So whenever I want to define any method, so first I need to mention the return type, followed by the name of the method, followed by the parameter list or arguments. So whenever I want to call any of the methods using the object using dot operator, I am just calling this div method. So for example, in C equal to A by B, so I am just going to return C. So division of num1 and num2. For example, I am going to divide one number by the other, 20 by 2. 10 will be returned at my output. Clear with this? So what is the use of going for this? To define a user defined method. So whenever I want to define any method, so this is the corresponding syntax for defining any method. So firstly, whatever is the method name, so it is prepended by the return type. Whatever is the return type, it is prepended by this public access modifier. And whenever I am going to call this method, I am passing these two parameters. For example, integer A and integer B, these two are given as arguments to this div method. So in C, firstly I am just initializing this integer value C equal to A by B. So I am dividing A by B, it is stored in the variable called C. So clear with this? So what is the use of going for inbuilt methods or predefined methods and user defined methods? Just take down this exercise. Find the error in the following code. Just take down this exercise. Find the error in the following code. Sai Prashant, just now just before some time I told you, right, how to get the user input in runtime. Plus num3. So whenever I want to print some value at the output, so I have to give plus num3. Clear with this? So inside this num3 there is some value. So I want to fetch whatever is stored inside this. So whenever I want to prepare. So inside this I am just creating a main method. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. So string of space args. So clear with this? So this is an example of single dimensional array. So whenever I want to create any array, for example, whatever is the name of the array, it is prepended by the integer data type. Clear with this? Someone asked me about arrays, user defined methods. Just now I discussed with you about user defined method, right? So whenever I want to define any method, so this is the corresponding syntax. So I have to give the access modifier followed by the return type followed by the name of the method. So I am defining a method called div. It is prepended by the integer data type. So whatever is the return type, I am just giving here as int return type and I am passing these two parameters. So A and B, these two are given as arguments to this div method. So plus, as I was telling you, right, if I am going to printed, I want to fetch the value stored inside this variable. So this is the syntax. So whenever I want to print out some numerical value, so I have to give this plus symbol. Yes, once you are going to register for internship, so I will just share all these codes. Clear with this, Yashwant? So please acknowledge once your doubts are clear so that I can move to the next topic. Someone asked me about user defined methods, right? So this is the syntax and whenever I want to call any method, so I am trying to create an object of this class type. Yeah, I will just run this program. So division program, you want to run me again, just right click and there is an option to run this file. You are able to see my screen. So the division of number 1 and number 10 is 10. Sumant, please acknowledge. Once your doubts are clear, I will move to the next topic. Yes, hi Prashant, I showed you one example, right? How to get the user runtime input. So this is how I have to import the scanner class. So I am just giving here as java.util.scanner. So whenever I want to create an object of this class type, for example, scanner object new scanner of system.in. So whenever I want to get user inputs, I am just giving here as system.in. Clear with this? So I am just trying to create an object of this scanner class. Clear with this? So object dot next line. For example, I am storing this in name, roll number, marks. So someone asked me about how to get user input. So I am trying to create an object. So there is a inbuilt, so it contains some libraries and packages performing different types of operations. So I am just importing the scanner. So import java.util.scanner. I am trying to create an object of this scanner class. So new scanner of system.in. So this is how I am getting the user input. For example, I am just getting some names. So I enter the roll number. I am giving some roll number and whatever is the marks I am just giving here. So clear with this how to get the user inputs. Clear with this? So how to get the user input? So till this clear? So I was discussing with you about predefined methods and user defined methods. So next I'm going to give you a brief introduction to packages. So what do you mean by a package? So whenever I'm creating some bigger applications, so whenever I'm going to develop some websites, it contains a collection of classes, interfaces and sub-packages. So there are many inbuilt packages such as Java, Lang, AWT, Abstract Window Toolkit, JavaX, Swing. So all these are the different types of inbuilt packages. Clear with this? For example, I am just defining. So whenever I want to define any new package, package name of the package. Clear with this? So I have some inbuilt packages. So I am going to discuss with you what is the use of different types of inbuilt packages. AWT, Abstract Window Toolkit, JavaX, Java, Lang. So all these are the different types of inbuilt packages. So till this part, whatever I am speaking, everything is clear. Any doubts or queries? So with this, I am just stopping today. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo. You can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program, JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. If you are interested, you can go to InstaMojo and you can register for Java Full Stack Internship Program JFSMC3. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the project files, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. Once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a free webinar certificate, and the internship users, they will be receiving an internship certificate as well as a participation certificate. So any queries in today's topic? I just started with methods. What do you mean by predefined method? What is the use of user defined method? I gave you some implementation examples. So tomorrow I will just continue. I just started with package. Tomorrow I will just continue with packages and the remaining concept. Any doubts or queries in today's topic? Whatever I discussed, everything is clear? So alright then. Remaining things we will see tomorrow. Same time, same link. Thank you all.